Hi, my name is Cecilia Jezik, and this is my attention activity for LIS 560. I'm going to be looking at retraining student workers at the UW Libraries Media Center. So first, let's take a look at the Media Center. The Media Center is part of UW Libraries. It's located in an Odegaard undergraduate library on the mezzanine level. It circulates movies and music, including course reserves. It's open 7 days a week to midnight on most nights, and it's staffed by 3 permanent staff, 1 graduate staff assistant. Incidentally, that happens to be me, which is why I'm doing my report on this, and 12 student workers. Our student workers. Our student workers are primarily UW undergraduates. They're usually between the ages of 18 to 23 years old. So it's usually just their first or second job. They're working for us between 10 and 19 hours a week during the quarter. And they're probably making between $8 and $12 an hour. These students aren't necessarily future librarians. Some of them might develop an interest in libraries, but they're studying all sorts of subjects. And they might be with us a quarter, or they might stay with us several years. The training that our student workers initially receive is when they start employment with us. We teach them the basics, including the basics of where everything is, how to circulate items, how to check things in, and just the kind of most basic frequent questions that come up. They also read an online training manual that goes into more detail. They don't necessarily retain all of that information, but it is available as a reference source if they do have any questions. They generally learn as they go along and ask questions as they come up. So the challenges with this system of training is that there's a lot of information. Even though it's in the reference manual, training manual, they might not know exactly where it is, or they might not think to look at it. Information changes. They're usually not experienced searchers, and they're often by themselves nights and weekends, so they don't have a staff person to ask. They have varying degrees of personal investment in knowing the right answer and helping patrons, and so that ultimately means there's uneven service to our patrons, depending on who's helping them. And so I'm thinking that maybe there needs to be a retraining. Maybe once a quarter, new and returning staff, student staff, would come and get retrained. There would be updates, there would be answer any questions, and generally just a series of skill building activities. The problem is that this would probably be pretty boring for returning staff because they probably think they know everything and wouldn't necessarily be motivated to come to the retraining. And so looking at this ARCS model of motivational design, there's 4 parts to instruction, and that's getting the student's attention, making the information relevant, building their confidence, and building their satisfaction. And the one that we're going to be looking at today is that attention aspect. And so in getting someone's attention, Ruth Small talks about the importance of the attention activity, and ways to do that are building activities that incorporate perceptual arousal, inquiry arousal, and variability. And so in trying to come up with an activity that would stimulate the student workers and really get their attention, those are some things that I considered. So this is the attention activity that I came up with. The idea is to pick 4 movies and then to have the student workers count off into groups. Each group will get assigned a movie, and then they'll have 5 to 7 minutes to come up with 3 recommendations for a patron based on the movie that they were assigned. The movies that they suggest have to be from our collection, and they have to be currently available. The groups will then report back on the movies they picked and why. And that will segue into brainstorming search strategies for related material. I think this movie will work best if the movies that are assigned to the different groups are relatively obscure films and of a diverse genres. That way, the students will be challenged to think beyond just recommendations off the top of their head, and they'll have to kind of dig around and look at the actors in the film and the genres and subject headings and try to come up with something that would be appropriate, even though they're maybe not as familiar with the item. Okay, well, thank you. That's my presentation, and I look forward to hearing your feedback.